If you want to become very proficient at music, it's important that you become very comfortable moving around the alphabet. And that sounds really simple because we've been probably saying the alphabet since we were 3 or 4 years old, but we don't always say it backwards, do we? Here are the 7 musical alphabet letters: A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And I've written them in alternating colors: red, green, and so on. We know that this keeps repeating over and over again up your instrument. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Coming down the alphabet, we just say the letters backwards: G, F, E, D, C, B, A. G, F, E, D, C, B, A. G, F, E, D, C, B, A. Continues down your instrument. So it's helpful to be able to say these forwards and backwards because when we're reading notes on the staff, we will have notes that are higher and lower in reference to some other notes. And when we start to get into ledger lines that are above and below the staff, sometimes we're just quickly looking for a reference point. So the reference point we might be thinking about is one of our guide notes. And if we've chosen as a reference point the guide note G, and we're talking about treble G here, then if we want to go down a note, we want to know that it's F. And you know, we easily can know that it's F because we say the alphabet A, B, C, D, E, F, G down 1 to F. But then we might start to think more about what else can we do with this alphabet besides just say the letters in order. Well, we could jump around. We could start to say them, instead of saying the alphabet just going up or just coming down, we could go up by skips. So that would take us like this: A, C, E, G, B, D, F. And this will start to help us when we are thinking about chords. And we could say the notes going down by skips: G, E, C, A, F, D, B. So moving down now instead of one letter at a time, but skipping a letter each time. This will also help us when we're thinking about chords, but it also helps us when we're thinking about the staff. So it helps us because each of these lines is a skip away from each other. So if we're starting on E, the bottom line, and we're going from the bottom line up to the second line, we're going from E up to G, so we're skipping over F. And then if we're going to this line, we're going to B, so E, G, B. And then we're going to D, and then we're going to F. So I'm using letters of the alphabet, but I'm not saying them in order. I'm skipping over one: E, G, B, D, F. So that's actually the way I prefer to memorize these notes. When I was in school, they taught us to make up rhymes to remember the notes, and you had to say a word for each line, word that started with E, G, B, and D, and F. So the one I learned was "Every good boy deserves fudge." There's lots of variations, I'm sure you know a few. But you have to think to yourself, every good boy deserves fudge, every single time. If you're going to go through all 5 of those, it's really just easier to say E, G, B, D, F. So if I'm here, it's E, G, B. I'm on B. If I'm here, it's E, G, B, D. E, G, B, D, F. So honestly, you're going to remember E super easy because it's the beginning of E, G, B, D, F. And you're going to remember F super easy because it's the end of E, G, B, D, F. And soon enough, you're going to get tired of going E, G, B, D, and you're going to remember D. So I wouldn't waste your time with silly rhymes to help with this. I would just say E, G, B, D, F. Now, in the bass clef, same thing happens. We've got all of these lovely line notes down here. And again, we could make up a little sentence that helps us remember them, but I like to do it the easy way, so I will just say G, B, D, F, A. G, B, D, F, A. That's all the letters. It's a word. G, B, D, F, A. G, B, D, F, A. Now this one gets used a lot in a lot of songs, so it gets memorized easily, and it's the last letter of the G, B, D, F, A. And of course this is the bottom or the ground, and eventually, quickly, you start to remember the G, so the G, B, D, F, A. Now bass clef's kind of cool, because, well, we've got these guide notes that we've memorized, presumably, as I showed you in the last video, where I introduced you to the entire grand staff. But the nice thing about this note here is that it's in the middle. Hey diddle diddle, who's in the middle? That's a cute little rhyme from some really easy beginner piano books. So that note right there is actually in the middle. If we count down 3 lines from the top and we count up 3 lines from the bottom, we will land on this middle line and we'll find the note D. It's in the middle. And then there's just B that's left, and it's a little bit below D and above the ground. So really, GBDFA is a whole lot easier than some story about good boys deserving fudge always, or whatever rhyme you might come up with. The same thing is true for the treble clef. So as soon as you start to be able to move around your alphabet by skips, something really cool starts to happen is you start to notice these patterns in music. And all over the piano there are ACES. And so here's an ACE right here. And these are the space notes in the treble clef, and they go A, C, E, and the bottom one down here was F. Now that spells a word, face, and there's your ACE right here, touching the outside of the staff, this being the outside right here. And then if you look at the bass clef, there's an ACE here as well, and it's right here. And so this ACE is also touching the outside of the staff. So here's an ACE, and here's an ACE, and they're both touching the outside line of your staff. So down here we have ACE, and an extra note on the top here is G. So we have ACE G, and in the treble clef we have ACE, face. So there's a couple of other ACES. I'm going to show them to you while I'm at it. This one is really interesting. It's kind of in the middle of the staff. So the C is the middle of the ACE, which is here, ACE. And these other two are going to be a little tricky to show you, so I'm just going to grab a piece of paper and put it behind, because I need a bigger staff to show this next ACE. Because as you know, when we're playing music, we don't stop here. We keep going. So here were the outside notes of the staff, and here's a G, F, G, A. Oh, A is the beginning of the word ACE. So here's an ACE. So let's think about that now. We know the top line of the treble clef is the note F. So F is a skip away from A. I'll use this color. So F is a skip away from A, and A is a skip away from C, and C is a skip away from E. So there's an ACE up here. If you're reading really high notes, you can use this ACE reference. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 ACES. These two are in spaces, and these two are on lines. And the other ACE that we can play is down here below this low G. Hopefully you can see this. I'm just going to angle my camera a tiny bit, so I'm not sure if you're going to. So here we have G, and then we have down a skip to E, and E is part of an ACE. So down here on line notes, here's your bottom line G, and here's 3 notes below the bottom line. These are ACES also. So I'm going to draw those now on the staff, and you'll see down here, this is my bottom line G. And so I've got a skip below G is E, a skip below E is C, skip below C is A. So now I've got another ACE down here. So those are the 5 ACES. We've got ACE down on the lines below low G. We've got ACE, the bass clef ACE with ACE G. We've got ACE, your middle notes on the piano, A, C, and E. You've got ACE in the spaces of the treble clef, and let me line this up again, as I wrote on a silly paper. We've got ACE up here. And as you know from guide note experience, we can compare. There's some space notes up here, and we know where the ACE is. It's easy to figure out the D and the B are the leftovers, or the note below A can be G. So those 5 ACES are a good secret for helping you to navigate through the alphabet. But really, it all starts with being able to move back and forth and up and down your alphabet, forwards and backwards, and by skips. I know it sounds silly, but it's worth it. Really, really. I mean it. For real.